Ooh, hello, historical people. Wes talking about longsword again. This one, I want to go over the English longsword concept of the pendant guard as one of the few guards that we see. Now, again, no expert in longsword, no expert in English, but I've seen online a couple of people talking about this pendant guard. Looks something like that. Okay, so you kind of got your arms crossed. Obviously, it's a hanging guard, so I assume you could do it this way as well. Just some kind of hanging guard. But I was wondering to myself, how can I make this fit into some of these lessons that we see through the Harleian manuscript or the letter roll, that sort of thing. And one of the main ones for me was, I think it's the 8th and 9th, let me just double check the book, the 8th and 9th Harlequin, where you cross, where are you? Come on, brother. Seventh lesson of the Harleian manuscript, okay, where you basically send out a hawk that says to cross at the elbows and step back, basically. I do it right-handed, so I actually cross the elbows. So I hawk, cross the elbows and step back. Now this puts me into pendant guard. I thought that was fun. I was like, oh, cool, all right. So that's a guard I should be working from. And then I thought to myself, some of the other plays, so if we take the first Harleian, where we're a hawk into a round, and then into a quarter. So whether the quarter is coming above or below, that pendant position is a lot more feasible, especially when in the actual play you're supposed to have sent the hawk in, then you double round or whatever, whether that's a round with two hands or two of these rounds. Then I'm supposed to step out like I've done, then step back homeward as many paces. So basically take a bit of a lunge out to the side and then a lunge back. That works really well with the pendant guard and with the concept that you see in the 7th lesson. So hawk into this, didn't step out, but yep, step out. And then bang, I'm in the pendant guard, as opposed to what, well, we see a lot of the time where they're trying to leave you in the quarter guard, or perhaps this is the quarter guard. Do you know what I mean? Because the thing with hanging guards is ox is fine, okay, or quarter or whatever we're going to call it. That's fine. That covers a decent chunk of me, okay, but that covers more, especially with my kind of leant back voided posture. And the best thing about hanging guards is if something hits that sword, it almost triggers you into a really powerful quarter, really powerful blow. You can obviously configure that to go wherever you want. And from here, similar to the shuttle key position, you can just extend out into a really nice thrust or foin or whatever. So quite like it. And I've been trying to find ways to work that into the lessons more. Another fun thing, and just bear with me on this, because no evidence for it whatsoever, but when we look at the half hawks, I've always thought of half hawk as being, so that's my normal hawk, and the half hawk is just that lever action. And to be honest, I still think that's the best way of doing it. However, if we change that up a little bit, and instead of that, we use the twist motion to attack with the false edge, I then really easily retreat into this. There's also another one of the lessons, can't remember quite which one, it might be the ladle roll, where, might be one of the ladle rolls anyway, where you proffer and then rake. And I saw a really cool interpretation online where the rake, they drop the tip. So they proffered out, dropped the tip, did a little snatch at the hands like that. And then they're into, I think it's a quarter and retreat, something like that. There might be a snatch on the end, I can't quite remember. But with that in mind, proffer into that. Now, just tipping the blade over into my rake, I could rake that into my pendant, no problem. It really works really well. So anytime you're attacking with that kind of, I suppose it is my leading edge, but anytime I've turned the sword over, it's perfect to lean into that pendant guard. And if I take the play, let me just try and remember it, but it's something along the lines of proffer, rake, into a quarter. I think you just back out, I can't remember. But that works really well. And when I'm trying to like narrow these plays and these lessons down into something that I could use in sparring, like that's a right cheeky little hand snipe. But also if I miss it, I can lean back as they try to go for me. Or if they take advantage of that proffer, okay. So I like the idea of using the rake as that little twist and back. That was the other thing. And then the double hawk, I think, lends itself quite nicely. If you remember me talking about the double rounds, I thought sometimes they might come round like that. So instead of being a straight up zwirch, they could be a kind of mullinet into a zerkow sort of position. With the hawk, that's your hawk. Double hawk, I used to just do like that, but that's actually kind of awkward on the wrists, especially when you've got gloves on, trying to attack with the lead edge again. But instead, if I let that spin into the false edge, that's quite a nice strike, feels okay to deliver, doesn't twist my hands around too much, and then boom, I'm in my pendant again. So how that would look on an opponent would be something like that, and I'm in. So when we've got the, is it the second lesson, which is a double hawk, or is that the hawk with half? That's hawk with half hawks, isn't it? But there's one that's pretty much the same as the first play, or first lesson, that is double hawk into round, round, and then quarter, I think. I could be wrong, but that kind of seems to set things up. I already like moving into hanging guard anyway, because I'm a member of the Order of the Blade. We do a lot of, we call it high roller, which is a guard from up there and then swing in. So that translates quite nicely to what we've learned already. So yeah, I think trying to base some of the plays around that pendant guard has been pretty useful, has been pretty fun. And I think it could be useful. I think instead of worrying about the ox like we used to, move that into a hanging position. Your quarters are going to come in more powerfully, and it's just a bit more fun. Looks cooler. Anyway, hopefully that's been useful. See you in a bit.